Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2025, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 78 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns, and also commemorating Viksit Bharat 2047 in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Well-being. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty. With the blessings of
आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's sessions. Today is also commemorated as International Week of Science and Peace, which was first observed during 1986 as part of the observance of the International Year of Peace. The organization of events and activities for the week was undertaken as a non-governmental initiative. The Secretariat for the International Year of Peace was informed of the preparatory activities and the final summary of events that occurred during this week. The organizers sought to encourage the broadest possible international participation in the observance. Based on the success of 1986 observance, the organizers continued their efforts in successive years. In recognition of the value of the annual observance, the General Assembly adopted Resolution 43 by 61 in December 1988, which proclaims the International Week of Science and Peace to take place each year during the week in which 11th November falls. The General Assembly urged member states and intergovernmental and non-governmental organizations to encourage relevant institutions, associations, and individuals to sponsor events and activities related to the study and dissemination of information on the links between progress in science and technology, cooperation among scientists, and required Secretary General to report to the General Assembly as its 45th session on the activities and initiatives of member states and interested organizations in connection with this week. So the annual observance of the International Week of Science and Peace is making an important contribution on the promotion of peace. The week encourages greater exchange on a subject of universal importance while also generating greater awareness of the relationship of the science and peace among the general public based on observances of the Science and Peace Week to date. It may be expected that participation each year will increase, contributing to greater international understanding and opportunities for cooperation in the applications of science for the promotion of peace throughout the year. Today is also commemorated as World Freedom Day, which is a federal holiday observed on November 9th. On this day in 1989, the momentous event in history took place when the Berlin Wall was abolished. The wall separated families and communities for almost 3 decades. Today, it marks the rise of democracy and freedom and the fall of communication in Eastern Europe. World Freedom Day was created to commemorate the fall of Berlin Wall post World War II, but today it is not so much about the wall, but more about what its falling represented. It marks the end of communication throughout Eastern and West Central Europe, ensuring liberty to all. The day was established as a federal observance in 2001 by President George W. Bush. After World War II ended, Germany was divided into East and West Germany, and West Germany was occupied by the Americans, French, and British, and East Germany became the Soviet occupied German Democratic Republic. East Germany gained status as an independent country in 1949, and the city of Berlin became a part of Soviet controlled Germany. So a wall was created to prevent the immigration of people from the East Berlin to West Berlin and the rest of the Western Europe. From 1961 to 1989, an estimated 5,000 people escaped over the Berlin Wall and more than 100 people were killed in the process. In 1989, travel restrictions became lenient in East Germany, leading to thousands of people impatiently climbing the wall and hitting the wall with chisels and hammers, and the Berlin Walls were chipped away by bit and eventually came down on 9th November 1989. 1 year later, Germany became a single territory again. Today is also commemorated as Remembrance Sunday in UK, celebrated every second day of November. On November 9th, initially the closest Sunday to Armistice Day or Remembrance Day. Remembrance Day is held in UK to celebrate the bravery of the British and Commonwealth soldiers who fought in the World War I and II. And we now celebrate world peace, which was restored by the action of these soldiers, an act of bravery and courage we will never forget. Armistice Day fell on Sunday in 1945, the year World War II ended, making it unnecessary to change the measure. When it seemed that continuing number 11th tradition would understate the importance of World War II, the Archbishop of Westminster, Bernard Griffin, suggested that second Sunday in November be used to mark the remembrance of both wars. This suggestion was later approved by the King of England. So Orphan Sunday, held on second Sunday in November since 2015, falls on November 9th this year from 2010 to 2014. It was celebrated on the first Sunday of November. Orphan Sunday began in Zambia, and today across the world it celebrated campaign for orphans, especially in churches. The observance also honors the tens and thousands of caregivers who assist with care of these children. Today is also commemorated as National Scrapple Day, US, to celebrate the comfort food that has been swirling around our bellies for hundreds of years, and it's a dish born from humble beginnings. As the first food invented in America, has become a traditional staple of mid-Atlantic states. Today is also commemorated as National Pupusa Day. On second Sunday in November, pupusa, a tortilla-like flatbread filled with beans and other deliciousness, is now a national dish of El Salvador, a far cry from its humble beginnings as a staple in the diet of early tribes. Today is also commemorated as National Louisiana Day in US. On November 9th every year celebrates all the great things that the state has to offer, from food to music, Louisiana is known for its vibrant and diverse culture, representing the state's multicultural heritage. And Louisiana's culture, buildings, food, and music all show influence from French, Spanish, Haitian, French, Canadian, Native American, and African cultures. There are many festivities and carnivals in the country that are directly taken from the myriad cultures and make up Louisiana. The most evident culture in Louisiana is the Louisiana Creole culture, which is a mix of French, African, Spanish, and American cultures. Today is also commemorated as Microtia Awareness Day in US on November 9th every year to spread the knowledge about the congenital disability. Microtia derives its name from the Latin word that means little ears. Approximately one child in every 9,000 is born with microtia. It occurs when the ear or ears do not fully develop during the first trimester of pregnancy. This leaves the child with small and underdeveloped or no ears at all. While microtia is diagnosed at birth, there is no clear understanding as to what that leads to disability. So, children born with microtia may suffer hearing loss, facial challenges, and social negligence. The Year Community Organization founded Microtia Awareness Day in 2016, and Melissa Tumblin founded Year Community in 2010 after facing challenges due to insufficient information. Her daughter was born with microtia. Since then, Year Community has brought more than 6,500 people together from across the world to share experience and resources. The community is made up of children and adults with microtia, their families, teachers, advocates, and medical professionals who provide care for those with microtia. There is also commemorated as International Tongue Twister Day on November 9th. For International Tongue Twister Day, celebrated every second Sunday in November, don't get your tongue tied with this November 9th. We are not talking about rolling or curling your tester. In fact, we are looking at the Peter Piper, the woodchuck, and all their friends. Twisters are a silly way to pass the time or practice pronunciation. Shoot, you can even use them to practice a foreign language, and it's time to celebrate all twisty things you can say with your tongue. So, tongue twisters, the popular nonsensical sayings that are that are ridiculously hard to say or deceptively easy, whichever way you want to look at it. It might seem to be simply alternative strings of words meant to trip up well your tongue, but as it turns out, tongue twisters are not random, which is why popular ones like Peter Piper and the Woodchuck have been around for a hot minute. So tongue twisters have technically been around since as early as 19th century when John Harris published Peter Piper's Practical Principles of Plain and Perfect Pronunciation, which included a twisty tongue tango for every letter of alphabet. And while the book was meant to help children and learn fundamentals of speech mechanics, its titular twister garnered quite the attention and inspired a lot of lore about its namesake. Speculation aside, it turns out Peter Piper was based on the French horticulturist Pierre Povere, whose last name actually means pepper in French. Pierre was said to be exploring the viability of growing American spices in the French Mediterranean. Whether you will So whether you're trying to master Peter Piper, the woodchuck, or even the Guinness Book of World Records, most difficult recorded tongue twister, the six, sick shake, six sheep sick, you are sure to get your tongue endlessly tied. Today is also commemorated as Go to an Art Museum. Remember how excited you were to go on a field trip to the museum as kid? The first thing on your mind was probably, yeah, no class, but a big part of the appeal was the thought of going on an adventure. And art's all about exploration. In fact, that's why we celebrate to go an art museum day on November 9th. More than 30,000 museums around the world participate, and each year, even a different theme. So today, go to a museum and discover something new. And if you can't go to museum yourself, you can always explore art online and read articles by some of the top journalists. Today is also commemorated as Geriatric Tooth Fairy Day in US, is observed every year on November 9th in the US. So this day aims to bring awareness to the importance of oral health for elders living in long-term care and seeks to kickstart the conversation on how poor dental hygiene affects aging adults' quality of life, especially when they find themselves in nursing homes. Showing that we care about our oral well-being is important as it makes them feel seen and heard, and many sickness and systematic diseases are linked to the poor dental care that affects vulnerable communities like senior citizens. Today is also commemorated as Day of Mourning in Germany, which is annually observed on the second Sunday in November in Germany. It takes place on November 9th, and it is known as Volkstag Tag, meaning People's Day of Mourning, and honors all victims of war and tyranny. Today is also commemorated as Coas Never Dies Day in US on November 9th. Coas is a state of disorder or confusion, and it appears in every facet of human experience. Since before the term even came about, in Greek mythology, Coas is one of the primordial gods who precedes the universe itself. So basically, Coas and all its confusion and disorder predates the universe, making it an integral part of life. While the specific origins of Coas Never Dies Day are unknown, and what is known that Coas is an inevitable part of, even as people propagate the idea of slowing down, taking a break, and taking some time for yourself, all of which can be a good idea in the right capacity. These won't stop the inevitable chaos in your life. Sure, the entire self-care movement, which is based around commercializing relaxation products for you, products that help you take a load off, has taken off in recent years. But that doesn't mean the chaos stops when you came out of your face masks and bath bomb coma. Quest can mean different things to different people. For some, it's a scheduled packed day, navigating a large and bustling city. For others, it's a weekly family dinners. Whatever your specific quest, the key to enjoying life is embracing the confusion and facing it head on. That's where Quest Never Dies Day comes in. It's completely dedicated to enjoying the quest, the world around us. Day is also commemorated as Cambodia Independence Day in Cambodia. celebrated on November 9th each year. The day is significant because it commemorates Cambodia's independence from France on November 9th, 1953. The people of Cambodia celebrate this day in these various parts of the country. The main venue where the official celebrations of the ceremony are held happens at the Independence Monument, which is situated in Phnom Penh, the capital of Cambodia. Every year on this day, a high-ranking official lights a ceremonial flame at the interior portion of the Independence Monument, and people deck the monument stars with flower tributes. In the 19th century, the Kingdom of Cambodia fell under the control of the Kingdom of Siam and became a vassal state of the Kingdom of Siam. To break free from their domination, King Norodom signed a treaty with France on August 11, 1863, claiming that the kingdom is now under France's protection. This pact resulted in the occupation of Cambodia by French. Not only did France seize control of the city, but it also took over Cambodia's trade relations and military might. During World War II, the Japanese invaded Cambodia and occupied this country on March 9, 1945. After a formal request by the Japanese forces, Cambodia King Norodom Sihanouk proclaimed Cambodia as an independent kingdom. The Japanese government also backed Cambodia's independent status and withdrew its troops. The French, however, had not given Cambodia full independence in 1946. Cambodia was granted self-rule within the French Union in 1949. The French took away the protectorate status from Cambodia that the treaty has established. The French revoked the Cambodia's protectorate status, which have been established under the treaty in 1949. By June 1952, King Shaw of Cambodia had decided to begin agitating for Cambodia's official independent status, dismissing his cabinet, suspending the constitution, and taking charge of the government as prime minister. In March 1953, King Sihanouk arrived in France to persuade the French to grant Cambodia complete independence. His campaign proved to be effective as French government announced on July 3, 1953, that it was ready to grant complete independence to the three states of Cambodia, Vietnam, and Laos. King Sihanouk reclaimed full control of the military, the police, foreign and trade relations, the judicial system, and the country's finance. The French relinquished the authority of the Cambodian police and military. As a result, the King Sihanouk became a hero to all Cambodians, and his freedom battle is commemorated every year on Independence Day, and he was given name the Father of Independence. Day is also commemorated as British Budding Day in UK, celebrated on November 9th every year. And it is a day when budding lovers can gather and indulge in every kind of budding that ever desired. British Budding Day celebrates the origins of British budding, and the rich culinary tradition behind baking puddings is still alive and a favorite of many others all over the world. So British puddings are different from American puddings in that the former comes in both sweet and savory flavors, while the latter is usually a sweet dessert dish. Due to its rich and complex flavors, British puddings have been a staple cuisine of its people for many decades. This is a day just another opportunity to give it love it deserves. Today is also commemorated as Brian Holland Legacy Day in US, which is observed on November 9th every year and honors the life and impact of a truly remarkable man. Holland was a strong community leader, a beyond professional industry man, a real confidant, and a master of guidance, and positively known because of his never-ending love and solid mentoring abilities, easiness in teaching, and far-reaching kindness. He was the cornerstone of a tight community and has set up to keep moving forward, honoring the work. Holland's legacy inspires us all every day to be a better person or versions of ourselves and to never forget to love. Today is also commemorated as Peri-Operative Nurse Week from November 9 to 15th in the US, celebrated every year in the second week of November. So it is an important week celebrating the achievements and contributions of peri-operative nurses to the medical field. These nurses handle patient care before, during, and after surgical procedures and are irreplaceable. The House of Delegates of the Association of Peri-Operative Registered Nurses, dedicated in 1979, one day of the year should be set aside for peri-operative nurses. The day would be to celebrate and spread awareness about the work and contributions of these nurses among the general public. The day selected was 14th November. Over time, the single day became a week-long celebration of the dedication and hard work put in by all the peri-operative nurses across the country. Peri-operative nurses handle the care of patients who need surgery or other invasive procedures. They interact with everyone involved, the patients, their families, the doctors, and others medical personnel involved to ensure their patients' comfort. Inside an operating room, peri-operative nurses would work as scrub nurses in charge of the instruments or as circulating nurses who ensure the quality of nursing care throughout the procedure. Pre and post surgery, they are the nurses who ensure that the patients have all information they need to continue healing and have the best possible care in the hospital. The job is frequently stressful, but nurses perform their duties cheerfully. Perioperative nurses are the primary advocates of patient care with a more hands-on approach than doctors can manage. As these nurses are present for the procedure from end to end, they stay aware of everything, and the patient needs to ensure they get the attention they need. Because of this nature of profession, perioperative nurses are excellent problem solvers and key factors that ensure their patients successfully recover. This week is also commemorated as Nurse Practitioner Week in US, which takes place annually in the second week of November to recognize these incredible healthcare providers and raise awareness of the powerful role they play in ensuring general health and well-being. Nurse practitioners are highly educated and trained medical professionals who are almost like doctors. In addition to their fundamental roles as registered nurses, they can provide primary care, counseling, diagnosis, offer health education, and write prescriptions. The nurse practitioner profession started in 1965 to respond to the increasing demand for primary care providers in the United States. The government recently expanded Medicare and Medicaid to cover disadvantaged people, leading to a mismatch in the number of available physicians and large population of people now qualified for primary care. The first nurse practitioner program, the NP, was launched at the University of Colorado in 1965 by NP pioneers Loretta Ford. At the PNP Fan and Henry Silver, MD, started as a certificate program, but in the early 1970s, the university upgraded it to a full master's degree program. In the 1970s, the NP program primarily focused on pediatrics, was expanded to other ways, areas including family NP programs and adult NP programs. By 1973, the NP programs had grown to 65. The following year, the American Nurses Association ANA established the Council of Primary Care and Nurses Practitioners to legitimize the role of nurse practitioners. By 1977, the ANA was offering NP certification exams. Before the end of the decade, the number of NPs had increased to 15,000. It is also commemorated as National Spit Pea Soup. The delectable dish embodies the simple vitalities of life, health, warmth, and alluring deliciousness with its eclectic mixture of colorful vegetables, wholesome meats, and of course, fresh peas. Split pea soup seduces the senses and makes anyone within reach eager for a taste. November 9 to 20 celebrate National Split Pea Soup Week by enjoying this hearty meal with its inviting aroma and welcoming warmth. It is also commemorated as International Fraud Awareness Week from November 9 to 15. Globally observed in third week of November, this year the event plagues from November 9 to 15. The aim is to raise awareness of fraud through fraud prevention campaigns and education. The Ponzi scheme was named after Charles Ponzi, who defrauded banks of about 20 million in 1920. Fraud is defined as an intentional act of deceiving someone to secure an unlawful or unfair gain. So, fraud is not only financial, it also includes identity theft, voter fraud, healthcare fraud, and more. Fraud is pervasive in every area of human lives and it's becoming more sophisticated and rewarding. Education, on other hand, removes such faults from society and helps to better its vision. So today is also commemorated as Human-Animal Relationship Awareness Week. From November 9 to 15, which is observed annually in the second week of November. This week extends from November 9 to 15. It was created to help us realize the importance of the connection we share with our pets and also to promote a safer and more compassionate attitude towards their well-being. In particular, negative interactions can jeopardize the formation of positive human-animal relationships, even if the number of positive interactions far exceeds the negative ones. However, a high quality level of relationship can withstand deviations from positive interactions to be more resistant to negative. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations. Thank you everyone for joining us on these celebrations and commemoration. See you all tomorrow at the same time. Take care. Good night. Before leaving, we request everyone